As I withdrew the last of my money from the bank, the sunset burned on the horizon, and it was already time to close. The bank manager hesitated to speak, but couldn't hold back. Mrs. Cloud, if Mr. Cloud finds out about you withdrawing so much money at once. I widened my eyes. This is my own money. Is it illegal to withdraw money? Ding! Wisnovel reminds you to click the subscribe button in the bottom right corner to read the complete novel. The manager wiped his sweat. No, not really, but if there's nothing, then don't say it. I stood up with the money. Your reminder is good, but I don't like it. I turned and walked away. The manager hurried to catch up. Mrs. Cloud, you and Mr. Cloud did not sign a prenuptial agreement. The postmarital property is shared. You can't hide this much money from Mr. Cloud. I was annoyed, not even looking back. I don't care if he knows. God knows, I'm almost dead. Who cares if I can hide it or not? Just 2 days ago, I awakened to self-awareness. I am the villainess in a CEO romance novel. The original plot of this book is both erotic and crazy. The male lead is the CEO of a listed company, cold, ruthless, and merciless. The female lead is a fair and weak intern, delicate and loving to act coquettish. On her first day at work, she made a mistake. While arranging an art exhibition, she accidentally knocked a nail loose, and the painting almost hit Javon. However, the usually picky male lead not only didn't blame her, but instead gently comforted her. It's okay. As time went by, the abstinent CEO found that this delicate girl could always calm his restless desires. So, the two of them, in various occasions, there were crazy intimate exchanges. Before long, the male lead's arranged wife sensed something was wrong and caused a scene at the company. Fed up, the male lead left with a firm statement. It's just a marriage of convenience. I feel disgusted when I see you. Then, he turned resolutely to his new love, never looking back. But the arranged wife fell in love with Javon for many years, unwilling to let go even in death. The three tangled for hundreds of chapters. The female lead went through pregnancy, resignation, being slapped, and a series of heartbreaking events, finally reconciling with the male lead. The arranged wife finally exited the stage. Her family went bankrupt. She wandered in Myanmar and died tragically in a foreign land. Yes, I am that arranged wife. I am the malicious female antagonist in the novel. I am the obstacle on the road of love between the male and female leads. Now, with 24 hours left until Javon attends the art exhibition and meets his true love, I decided to accelerate my actions. First, transfer all the money that can be moved. Javon Cloud returned home, and I was squatting in the cloakroom, discussing with my best friend how to handle my money. She was stunned for a moment, then burst out. Are you trying to transfer assets to me? Are you crazy? Don't you know what your husband's family is capable of? He has connections everywhere. He will definitely have the whole city after me. I remained calm. No, these are all legal assets under my name. But she couldn't understand. Didn't you say last year that you wanted to save money to support Javon Cloud, to give him everything he needs and wants? Have you suddenly fallen out of love? Don't you love him anymore? I frowned. Did I say that? Of course. You adore Javon so much. You said you would die without him. I hastily put away my Hermes bags, took the path of least resistance, and said, who knows, maybe I was being a bit impulsive back then. It was at this moment that Javon Cloud walked in. He probably only heard the last half of our conversation. The man was tall and imposing. He paused visibly, then casually raised an eyebrow at the mess on the floor. What new trick are you playing now? Seeing trouble brewing, my best friend slipped away, leaving just the two of us in the cloakroom. Javon dressed in a charcoal gray suit, broad-shouldered and long-legged, with an indifferent expression on his face. He was always like this, showing no emotion when we got married, or even in bed. We've been married for 3 years, known each other for over a decade. For as long as I've known him, I've liked him. During my school days, everyone knew I was ardently pursuing him. On a snowy night in the northern city, I stood in line to buy concert tickets for him and ended up with a fever. On his birthday, I scalded my hands making soup for him. In high school, rain or shine, I insisted on bringing him breakfast every morning. Later, when we got married, I was overjoyed and went all out, setting off fireworks for him by the river. But in the end, he would only give me a fleeting glance in the crowd. I couldn't warm his heart. I didn't understand before, but now I do. In the story setting, I'm simply not the one who can move his emotions. There are too many clothes. I closed the suitcase. I'll tidy up a bit. Javon glanced at me. Tidy up? Are you taking all our money with you? His expression was indifferent as he adjusted his tie with impatience. Are you secretly keeping a male lover behind my back? I frowned. No. Why would you think that? Receiving a negative answer, Javon's expression returned to being cold. It's best if there isn't. I don't want any problems in our marriage, because if this becomes hot news, it will affect the company's stock price. So, he didn't really care about a male lover. He was only obsessed with maintaining the company's image, afraid that I would embarrass him. I felt a sudden disappointment, but merely nodded. Got it. Yuri going on a business trip tomorrow to attend an art exhibition? Yes. Did you ask the assistant about my schedule? No. After saying that, I paused, looked out the window, and saw the storm approaching, about to rain. I lowered my eyes. I'll finish putting away the clothes first. That night, Javon was particularly ruthless in bed. He was always like this before he had a business trip. I was tired, but too too lazy to resist, knowing there wouldn't be a next time anyway. In the future, the woman on his bed will be the female lead. In the next 200 chapters of the novel, they would indulge in passion everywhere, from the office to the cafeteria. Every place would be their battlefield of love. I slept until the afternoon. When I woke up, my lower abdomen was sore. I opened my phone and saw that a trending topic dominated a hot search. Javon Cloud and the intern are a perfect match. I clicked on it, and it was no surprise. According to the original plot, Javon and the female lead, Maud Sweeney, met at an art exhibition. The photo was taken from a passerby's perspective. Maud Sweeney had long hair, wearing a white dress, with tears in her eyes, looking pitiful. Javon stood tall beside her, using one hand to support the shaky picture frame, with the veins slightly bulging on his forearm. I scrolled through the comments. I have never seen Mr. Cloud be so gentle with anyone before. Damn it, although I know Mr. Cloud is married, but I immorally think. I understand, they look like a couple. I propped my chin up, leaning on the bathtub. As I cleaned up what Javon had left in my body, I scrolled through the comments. In the original text, there was a strange magnetic field between the male and female leads. Whenever he saw her, Javon would find it hard to control his emotions, feeling an indescribable desire to protect and lust. I called my best friend. Have you prepared what I asked for? Are you ready? My best friend hesitated. Are you really going to do this? Are you done with Javon? Did you think I was kidding? I thought you were just having a quarrel. I lazily said, have you seen the hot search? I have, but oh well, Javon didn't really cheat. I thought for a moment, wait a minute, I'll show you. After that, I opened the contact list, dialing Javon's number. It rang for a long time before he answered. It was a bit noisy on his end, amidst the hustle and bustle of the art exhibition. With the laughter of young girls floating around, Javon's tone was still cold, but obviously more relaxed than when he was at home. He asked, what's wrong? I hesitated, stuttering, Javon, if I'm pregnant. He interrupted me coldly, abort it first. I had already guessed that he would suggest aborting the child, but I was still taken aback by his words. First, I'm still on my business trip. It's been extended. I won't be back for another week. Javon controlled his emotions. Go get the procedure done first. If there are any issues, we'll talk when I get back. After that, he hung up. In the original novel, Javon and his arranged wife had a child together. However, he seemed to be under a spell, not believing that the child was his. I caressed my belly, lost in thought. Baby, you can't grow up in this nonsense plot. Javon doesn't know that I'm not testing him. I'm really pregnant, as I discovered just 2 days ago. When the pregnancy test showed 2 lines, I happily thought that as soon as he came home, I would tell him the good news. But before he came back, my supporting character consciousness awakened. Now, whether it's for this child or to prevent them from selling me to Myanmar, I have to run away. After hearing the recent call, my best friend screamed in anger. Javon Cloud is such a despicable person. Is he even human? I could tolerate his behavior before, but you two are married. What nonsense is he talking about? I said indifferently, he is just that kind of person. My best friend continued angrily. Run. I'll prepare a fake identity for you right away. You'll disappear without a trace and leave him alone. I wrapped myself in a towel and left the bathroom. Walking through the corridor, I saw my wedding photos with Javon all along the way. I felt a moment of daze. For the past 3 years, I shared a bed with him, giving him the best years of my life, but he remained indifferent. What would his reaction be when he came back and found me gone? Javon said his business trip was postponed and he would only return a week later, but I knew he wouldn't really wait until then to come back. According to the original novel's plot, on the same late night, he would rush back home because of an urgent phone call, leaving behind the delicate and lovely Maud Sweeney, because the second female lead committed suicide. In the original plot, I sat in the bathtub and threatened Javon. If you are with someone else, I will live stream my death. Let the netizens see how heartless you are as a husband. This incident completely angered Javon. He grabbed the second female lead's wrist, forcefully dragging her out of the bathtub. Since you want to die so badly, shall I help you with that? Then, he imprisoned her, locking her in a bedroom compartment, separated by one-way glass. On the other side of the glass, he engaged in intimate physical interactions with Maud Sweeney every day. Of course, I would not allow such a thing to happen. I would run before he came back. After packing the last box of Hermes, I had the butler help me load it into the car. Then I called my best friend to confirm, is the plane ticket ready? It's all set. She was super enthusiastic. Fly to the South City first, then someone will pick you up. Once you leave the North City, everything will be fine. Okay. Abigail Reed. Freedom. You will be free from Javon soon. Freedom. I felt a moment of daze. In the twilight, the bodyguard my dad sent to take care of me was already waiting at the door. For the last time, I went upstairs, walked through the house that belonged to Javon and me, and opened the bedside table in the bedroom. I took my passport passport and ID. Since I was 15 and met Javon, I had been circling around him. I repeatedly asked him, "You really don't like me, huh? I'm so cute. Just take a good look at me. Maybe you'll start to like me after seeing me more." At 25, I left here with nothing. He never lacked someone to queue in the snow all night to buy concert tickets for him, nor did he lack a birthday cake with crooked cream borders at the party. He was born as the proud son of heaven, the protagonist of the novel. He lacked nothing, including my love. I decided to take back my love. On the way to the airport, there was a traffic jam. I was feeling a little sentimental, but this traffic jam completely wiped out my feelings. As time passed by, I started to get anxious. "Can't you go faster?" I asked. The bodyguard replied indifferently, "Madam, the northern city is always congested. Please understand." I looked at his biceps bulging under the uniform, almost saying something but stopped myself. Fine. It wasn't really about missing the flight. If necessary, I could reschedule the ticket, but if I didn't leave soon, Javon would be back. If he found no one at home, who knows what might happen? If plots couldn't be changed, would I really be locked next to the bedroom, listening day and night to his intimate interactions with Maud Sweeney? I made a quick decision. No, we won't take this route with the highway congestion, change direction. But madam, the other way is under construction now. And usually, there are very few people. Let's go. Take that route. He was forced to change direction. Driving into a dark and deserted alley, the speed suddenly slowed down. I urged, faster. And at that moment, the unexpected happened. The next second, a Maybach rushed out from another small road in the mountains. It collided head-on with my car. Flames soared. I was heavily hit against the airbag, and for a while, my head only felt intense pain. All I could see was a mist of blood. I struggled to lift my eyes, and barely made out the license plate of the Maybach. It was Javon's car. He was back, with Maud Sweeney. Maud? Javon was not seriously injured. He hurriedly got out of the car, holding a petite girl in a white dress in his arms. I had never seen him so disheveled and anxious. His shirt and jaw were stained with blood, but his palm was protecting the girl's head, as if afraid she would feel pain, and afraid she would feel cold. "Maud, don't fall asleep," Javon anxiously urged. "We are not far from the highway. I will take you to the hospital." "Javon." "Maud," he said. "I'm here. You will be fine." Pain. My head hurts so much. I can't tell where the pain is. So, Javon is not ignorant or indifferent. He can love recklessly. He protects her, cherishes her in his hands. When accidents happen, he shields her without hesitation. He just doesn't love me. Before losing consciousness, tears streamed down my face. I was lifted by a pair of strong hands. "Madam?" I was in a daze, feeling hands pinching my face. "Wake up. The doctors will be here in 5 minutes. They are coming by helicopter." His biceps were not trained in vain. I was pinched until tears welled up. "Be gentle." He cautiously withdrew his hand, but I was still in pain. Supported by him, I intermittently said, "You save my child." "What?" I took a deep breath. "My child." After speaking, everything went completely dark before my eyes. I was in a coma for half a month. When I woke up, I found myself lying in a hospital room in Seattle, across the ocean, with the chirping of birds and the fragrance of flowers. The hospital room was bathed in golden sunlight, creating a peaceful atmosphere, and my child was still alive. I swear you'll make me die from laughter. My silly best friend sat by the bed. She was peeling an apple and repeating for the 5th time, "You know, at that time Eric thought your brain was damaged and held you, shouting child to him." She burst into wild laughter. "Enough." I coldly pushed her away. "You've been laughing for a month. Don't you have anything else to laugh about?" "Eric, that's my bodyguard." I heard that later. It was also him who put me on the helicopter. I felt guilty. Fortunately, his injuries were not serious, just a scraped arm, and after a rest, he recovered. As a thank you, Grandpa gave him a set of Seaview House in Seattle. "But, thankfully you're okay." My friend put down the apple. "Your child is so strong." "Yeah." I touched my abdomen, feeling warmth in my heart. "I've already picked a name for him, Hardy Reid. If Javon Cloud hears this name, he will definitely strongly oppose it." She twitched her mouth, suddenly remembered. "But, do you know? Since your accident." Javon suddenly went crazy. "I don't know." I interrupted, lowering my eyes softly. "I don't want to know either. Let Javon's matters remain in the northern city. He has nothing to do with me anymore." In the spring of the following year, Hardy Reid was born in Seattle. He was the first child of our generation in the family, and grandparents, cousins, and sisters were all eager to give him a name. But I still like to call him Hardy. By the time this little one was 3 years old, he was already very handsome, fair-skinned, with round black eyes, like a little gentleman, and his temperament was 1,000 times better than his biological father. In kindergarten, the other kids always liked to team up with him for games, but fate always has its way. Finally, one day, after school, he came over with a worried look, carrying his backpack. "Mommy." "Yeah?" He hesitated. "Why does everyone else have a dad, but I don't?" "Baby, let me tell you." I picked him up and snuggled him, very patiently. "We humans are very fragile. When we've lived long enough, we'll die and disappear from the world. What does that have to do with Dad? He's dead. So, I can't see him anymore?" He spoke hesitantly, his two thin little arms hanging around my neck, looking a bit pitiful. tall. He bears a strong facial resemblance to his father. What a mini Javon. I sighed softly. Okay, maybe you can still see him. He's disappeared, but not completely, just gone to the stars. Will we meet again? Maybe. I thought for a moment and said hesitantly, when we find the Trisolarans, he'll come back. At that time, I had no idea at all. Just because of this casual remark of mine, I raised an astronomer. But that's a story for another time. After I finished saying this, the 3.5-year-old mini Javon hugged my neck tightly. Mommy, don't go to the stars. Okay, my heart softened completely. I won't go. I will stay with you. Mom will protect you. No one can take you away from me.